Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Do not adjust your screens. Anthony Smith has not grown dreadlocks for this one. I am joined, of course, by the one, the only, my former opponent, a very good friend of mine, an absolute legend when it comes to mixed martial arts, the one and only Sugar Rashad Evans. Rashad, my man, thanks for your time, brother.
Michael Bisping, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Let's go. You know, so I'm sitting there on my balcony last night, and a mutual friend of ours, Chris from Fit Soda, he texts me about about a drink, and then I get the notes for the podcast today from Harrington, my producer, and I'd seen this anyway. I'm like, why did I not think about asking Rashad? Because you are coming back to the ring, to the squared circle with a former opponent, the one and only Quentin Rampage Jackson. Talk to me about what's going on, Rashad.
Yeah, after me and Rampage did the podcast, we had a good podcast, but we started to talk, and he talked about the whole thing that happened between him and Shannon, how the fight didn't end up going through, how he got in great shape. And now that he's got in great shape, he's got his diet under control. He's feeling strong. He's feeling good. He was talking about getting in some rounds, and he said, "I don't want it to go to waste." And I'm like, "Dude, say less, say less." Me and Rampage, we've had we had a tumultuous, crazy relationship in the beginning, but we did the movie together. We were German twins, and after that, we kind of had a chance to talk things out and kind of establish a relationship. But there's still that competitive edge, because even when we're doing a show, even when we're doing a movie, we'll be doing workouts, and we'll find ourselves, competing a little bit, just doing a little workout, so.
What was the movie?
The movie is Boss Level.
Yeah.
Boss Level. Yeah.
No,
Joe. Oh, okay.
No, Joe Carnahan. I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah. I actually auditioned for a part in that film. They didn't give it to me. They fucked me off. I don't even think they considered me for a second. And then I saw you and Rampage in it. I'm like, these bastards. Mate, that's awesome. So obviously you and Rampage fought UFC 114, MGM Grand. I was the co-main event. I fought Dan Miller, so I helped Rampage train for that one. You got the win in that one. You used your wrestling.
Yeah.
You've been retired for a little bit, Rashad now. So how are you feeling about this fight?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling confident. It's a boxing match, so I feel when it comes down to it, he's complained in the past the fact that I beat him, and the only reason why I beat him is because I was able to wrestle. And he talks about the third round, how he had me dazed and had me skating on ice, and how I barely survived. And I've had to listen to this for years, so that right there is motivating enough, Mike. It's like one of those things where it's like, listen, I'm gonna try to dog walk his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get on him, man, because like he hit me in the third and he had a little bit of power, but at the end of the day, like I feel like when it comes down to where I am right now, as far as my understanding of the striking and my ability to strike, I feel that I'm gonna walk him down.
You're gonna dog walk the wolf, man. That's brilliant. Hey, you got to watch that power, though, buddy. The last thing to go is the power. I know you take care of yourself. You are a true athlete. You are a new person these days from the person you used to be. We've spoke about that many times. But he's still a dangerous old boy.
No, he is. And that's one of the things that, I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure I really take it serious and make sure that I do all the steps, because it's just one thing, like going in here and coming back at my age is always one of those things where it's like, you know what I'm saying? It could be embarrassing if you don't do it right. It can be very embarrassing. It can work against you if you don't do it right. And that's something that I had to weigh in my mind. Like, is it even worth it? As if I don't perform my best? But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to make sure I perform my best. I'm going to make sure that I bring my best to the table. I'm going to make sure I'm at my best, and I'm going to be serious about it, So it's really something fun to look forward to, and we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So this is going to be one championship, right, in the American show in Chicago.
I'm not sure where it's going to be, but we're working something out with one. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me about how the body's feeling, Rashad, because
Yeah.
I'm 45, Rampage is 45. What are you, 44?
I'm 44 right now. Yeah, 44.
Son of a bitch, 44. The man's younger than me. How's the body feeling? Because I'll be honest, mine's falling apart at the seams. But you take great care of yourself these days.
Mike, I once I took some time off and I just cut back on the impact of what I was doing. Less hard rounds, more technical rounds. And sometimes, I'm not even getting those rounds in, but I just allow my body to just take the time off it needs to take off. I don't push it when it's feeling worn down. If it's feeling run down, I'll take a few days off. But I know just my mindset, by the end of the week, I'm jonesing to get back in there. So I just make sure I stay pretty consistent, but I don't go crazy with it. And I don't try to overdo it. I'm very well aware of the fact that I get my biggest gains when I rest more versus when I try to push through.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's only with age and experience you realize that, because when you're kids, it's like, let's go,
Yeah.
push, harder. Sometimes you just got to step off the gas. If you were talking, because you've been around mixed martial arts at the highest level, you've been a champion, you've coached great people like Kamaru Usman, you're still fighting at your age, you're an analyst in the UFC. And I get young fighters asking me all the time, what's one piece of advice? Somebody asked me at the weekend. I was actually at the Masvidal versus Diaz fight. It was the guy walking me back to the VIP area where Rampage was actually. He looked a little heavy. he looked bigger than you. And that guy said, I'm an up-and-coming boxer. What's one piece of advice? And I was with my brother-in-law, and he laughed his head off when I gave the advice. He's like, that's the worst advice ever. I said, make sure you stretch. Make sure you focus on your recovery. And the guy was like, that's it? I'm like, well, dude, obviously, if you want to do this, you're going to push yourself. You're going to train. But make sure you focus on the recovery. And my brother-in-law was laughing, going, that is the least exciting advice he expected. But what would you say, Rashad?
No, that's very important. That's one up there. But I would say, enjoy the process and whatever that process may be. Sometimes that process takes different forms in the amount you got to train, the times you got to train, the rest you got to take, or just dealing with the media of the event. Those are the times in my career where I can say I didn't enjoy it the most. The anticipation before the fight sometimes got to me, and I didn't live in enough of those moments. And when you truly live in those moments, the results are going to be what it's going to be, but you're truly getting the most out of that experience. And when you get the most out of the experience, you're able to bring more of yourself. So I would say just be all the way dialed in.
Yeah, that reminds me of a conversation that I had with Anthony on Monday. Obviously, he just fought and came up short in his last fight. And he was talking about that, saying how he's not enjoying the process.
Yeah.
And he just wants the fun part, and I'm like, well, dude, you don't get to have the fun unless you do all the hard work. You've been at you've had some ups, a lot of ups, mainly ups. Towards the end of your UFC run, there was some downs, shall we say politely. What's some advice you would give to Anthony right now?
I would say he has to redefine his why. Why is he doing it at this point? And reestablish that hunger in that why, if that hunger is there. Because here's the thing about it: when he's been in the sport for a long time, he's got over 50 something fights, and he's had a lot of success in that, right? But there becomes a time where you can't draw on that same pool forever. You can't draw from that same well. You got to be able to dig a new well of this is why I'm doing this, and be able to frame it in that context. Because when you're going out there and you got guys who've never had a taste of what you had, and idealistically speaking, their ambition of what it may be is so overpowering that they'll walk through fire to get there. And that's what you gotta meet across the cage. So at the end of the day, your will has got to be strong enough to handle going there against anybody's will. And that comes from that why. So he just got to go and tap into that why. He needs to go and just maybe sit down with himself and just, get deep. You know what I'm saying? Maybe drop a few grams of mushrooms to see what's really going on.
I'm glad you brought that up. So get deep. Come on, Rashad. What is getting deep? And if he was to take a few grams of mushrooms, or I was, what would happen to me? Where would I go? Come on. Because I need to get deep. You see me now. I'm always acting the fool. I said to myself this morning, because I'm always a dickhead on the podcast. I'm like, right, okay. Just maybe this time I'm going to bring the energy down a bit. I'm not going to be as silly. I'm not going to be as foolish. But I can't help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a fool or the class clown. But so I'm going to go on a mission. I'm going to take some mushrooms. What's going to happen, Rashad? Where will I be at the end of my journey?
Well, hopefully somewhere good. Hopefully you made it through that rough part that can be part of the trip sometimes. When you're battling that feeling of hanging on to who you think you really are and truly letting go. And it's in that letting go process that you realize that letting go is the most liberating thing that you can do. And a lot of the tension that we have in life and the stresses that we have in life is because we're holding on. And sometimes we don't even realize how tight that we're holding on. But was when you're able to let go and just relax and trust in the fact that everything is going to be okay, then you can see on the other side, and then you can find that silver lining in that dark cloud. And, it all depends on the grams you take now too. You know what I'm saying? You get a little deep, but at the end of the day, it's you discovering yourself. And I feel that can be overstated enough. We get glimpses of finding ourselves and looking in ourselves whenever we got to have that moment of combat where we got to walk. We got to walk that green mile to the cage, right? And we get that very introspective feeling. But there's more behind it, and you can dive deeper into it and really uncover some things and just truly just expose the fear for what it is. And once you expose the fear for what it is, it can't live in you anymore.
That's this very, very good words. Let me ask you this though, Rashad, because the version of you that I see now that I'm talking to you is very different to the 2014 or when was that fight? 2014? No.
Yeah, no.
2010?
Like 10, 10. Yeah.
Very different to the 2010 version. So would, the psychedelics and the for want of a better expression, I'm always silly. There's no disrespect. The kumbaya-ness of it all. Would that coincide with trying to whoop someone's ass in the UFC? Do you see the juxtaposition?
Yeah. No, it is a juxtaposition, but when it comes down to it, it's coming down to the understanding of who you are, right? And that's what it's about. And who I am that's what I like. That's what's fun to me. That's what excites me. So clearing up that path, mentally speaking, as far as getting some of that dirty laundry out of my life and mental baggage out of my life, that was able to go, and the drive to want to compete got stronger because now I was more crystal clear about why I was competing. It wasn't due to any trauma. It wasn't due to, me being mad about this. It was about one thing. It was about me pushing myself as hard as I can because you know what? I'm sick like that. And that's what I find fun, and I made it personal, and making it personal is a fuel that's inexhaustible because when I was using other sources of fuel, just anger and stuff that I had from the past, I found myself, running out because as you go through life teaches you. And as you learn through life, you learn to forgive and you learn to work past a lot of the traumas that you have.
Yeah, it's very deep, but it's perfect words. It really is. And I'm sure a lot of young people listening to this right now, hopefully take advantage of what you're saying. Rashad, you had a legendary career, Ultimate Fighter 2. You knocked out Chuck Liddell. You became champion of the world. You coached the Ultimate Fighter against Rampage Jackson. So you guys have a lot of history. What was the peak, the highlight, or the most personal, satisfying victory for you? And don't say when you beat me, because it wasn't. No, when you whooped my ass in Newark.
That was one of the scariest fights. I'll be honest.
No, but like a personal victory at the end. I mean, because the obvious choice is when you became the champion. But for you, what was the big one?
You know, it was the fight that I fought Chuck Liddell, and it's not so much because of the way the fight ended. It was more or less because that was really one of the first times that I wasn't able to conquer the fear that I had, like, you know, the anxiety and the anticipation of the fight, and you get it every single time we fight, but sometimes it's more manageable than others. And then that fight was really my first time not being able to manage it, and finding a way to work through that. Once I was like completely an emotional wreck going into that fight, I felt really proud of myself because I felt as if like I grew as a person. And that's one of the best things about a fight in general, is that, you know, people look at the physical side of it and things like that, and like, man, that was awesome. But for me, every single one of my fights, it was very symbolic in a growth that I had internally speaking as a person. And, you know, that fight, I felt as if like I grew so much as a person that it leveled me up in a way, in belief in myself, that I never had. And it was something that just kind of stuck with me as a person. It was really one of those moments where it was like, dude, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And it was just kind of it was like one of those moments where you know, when you're in it, you don't really catch a true glimpse of how far you've come. But that was one of those moments that I was able to catch a glimpse, because I remember when I was coming into the UFC and I first got onto the Ultimate Fighter show and I won that show, I had one of my best friends, Craig Waldeck. He's like, so you mean to tell me that you're going to fight against Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, you're going to get killed. And it kind of stuck with me, because I'm just like, at that point, I was so happy to be in the UFC. I wasn't really even thinking about the competition like that. And it never dawned on me that in people's mind that these people are so big that they can't get beat. And when I beat them, I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, no, and I totally resonate with that, because me personally, and by the sounds of it, yourself and a lot of other fighters, we kind of have this imposter syndrome, you know, because we look at these people, we put them on a pedestal, we see them on TV, you know, and then all of a sudden we're in there and I'm like, oh shit, we're really doing this. We're really winning. Like when we fought, sorry to bring it up again, but that was my first loss. And when I was so happy, kind of going the distance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, well, I went to a decision with Rashad Evans, because I watched you on The Ultimate Fighter Season 2. So I was like, shit, this Rashad Evans, he's the wrestler. You can't compete with the wrestler. I'm like, well, I did okay. Do you know? And my manager at the time was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You just got beat. Your career's down the toilet. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with a close fight, you know. But I think it's remarkable for people to hear stuff like that. I can hear the birds tweeting. Sounds like you're in paradise.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the baby birds that I got. It's the baby birds that I got.
What kind of birds? Never mind the product. I want to hear about the birds.
Chickens.
Can you show me?
Huh? They're in a little tent right now. They're like in a little let's see here.
My wife is obsessed with birds.
No, they're still like in their infancy stage here. They're just barely getting around. They're too small to be on their own right now, so they're just in the little love tent.
you're raising your own eggs and stuff like that. That's the idea.
That's the idea, man. That's where I want to go with it, man. That's what we had about 8 chickens before, and the way it works out here, man, it just, you don't keep your chickens long. Sometimes they get snatched up by all kinds of foxes and everything else out here.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're talking about moving somewhere like North Carolina, starting a farm.
Oh, you listen, Mike. Listen, you have to do it. You can for the kind of money you pay in LA, bro. Listen, you would be living high on the hog out here. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, my wife's like, she wants bees, she wants goats, she wants pigs, she wants chickens, she wants to grow all these vegetables and all the rest of it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just go along for the ride. But you're right. The finances, that sounds very, very appealing.
I mean, listen, when you don't got to pay all those taxes, bro.
They just raised them again yesterday in California for small business owners, because I've got the UFC gym, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's hard enough just to keep the place open, because we're like, I mean, like the gym's got a lot of members, but it's like, it's hard. Rashad, all chickens aside, Umbo. Tell me about Umbo.
Yeah.
What is this drink?
So Umbo is a functional mushroom company that I'm a part of. I'm partners with Jake Plummer, the former cornerback for the Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, and also Dale Jolly. We're founders in the company. And we started the company just because of the benefits that we had from the functional mushrooms, not the medicinal, not the crazy ones, but the lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, the ones that have no psychoactive effect. So we started this company, and we had a few different SKUs. One of them was this really good nutritious bar. It's a mushroom bar, has like 15 like a bunch of different mushrooms in it, lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, and it's like 1,500 milligrams of mushrooms in it. Then we had capsules, and we came out with the drink as of lately. It's a Myco Rise and a Myco Rest. It's like the recovery type thing, because our main thing is we're pushing the active, but we were using the mushrooms for that, using the cordyceps and their like opponents, different mushrooms that work together with that. And then we have the Myco Rest, which is for after you get done from working out. It's more of something to kind of help you, get into rest and relaxation and things like that, to help you down cycle a bit.
Nice. Yeah, I see a lot of these products, and I'm starting to delve into this kind of stuff myself. Not that you're pitching to me or anything, but if you were on Dragon's Den, no, that's the UK version. If you were on called Shark Tank right now, what makes your product stand out over the competitors?
Well, I mean, what makes us stand out is the fact that we tried to take more of an athletic approach with our formulations and things like that, because me and Jake are athletes, and we wanted something in the mushroom space, but we wanted to be more speak to the athletes and what we need. We need a little bit extra when it comes to things that can make us move and things that can help us with balancing out the inflammation, balancing out that lactic acid that builds up and things like that. So we try to put mushrooms together that really work and really speak to, the athletic body and what the athletic body needs during competition.
Okay. Well, I'm sold. I'll invest $200,000, 10%. Umbo.com.
Umbo.com. Yep. And if you can go and you can check out, we got Bisping is a code offer. So if you guys go and you put in Bisping, you'll get a discount.
Lastly, what are you weighing right now, Rashad? Because you're getting smaller and smaller every time I see you.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, I look like I'm a lot smaller, but I'm around like 220, 225.
Okay.
So I'm still heavier. The thing is, I don't lift any weights, so all the weight is kind of carried in my lower part. So
that's what makes the power.
That's the power right there.
It's all in the ass. So Rampage, he's gonna get knocked out or what?
I'm not gonna talk crazy yet. I gotta start going through camp and see how I feel. But I mean, I'm gonna walk his ass down. We can put that on. We can put that on the record. Okay, I'm gonna
dog walk Rampage. Amazing, Rashad. Always great talking to you, buddy. I'll see you on the road soon. All the best with everything, and thanks again.
Thank you, my man. Take care, please.
My man. Take care. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right. Always a pleasure to talk to the one and only Rashad Evans, but Mike Harrington. It's the Believe You Me podcast. By the way, Giga Chikadze will be joining us very shortly as well. So thanks to Giga. He's fighting Arnold Allen at UFC 304. But in the world of mixed martial arts, what breaking news do we have right now, Harrington?
I think the biggest thing just came across my desk earlier this morning. There is nothing confirmed yet, but the rumors are that the UFC is looking to set up a fight between Justin Gaethje and Alexander Volkanovski for, I believe it's UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, interesting. I saw something about that, I think last week on Twitter, but it was just some random Twitter account talking about it. And the fact that you're seeing it now, I don't know. I don't want to break any stories or whatnot, but you're seeing it online. So it's reported. But if we just take it as that it's happening right now as a discussion point, my initial reaction is, God bless Alexander Volkanovski. I mean, what a guy, right? Because he just lost to Topuria, tough knockout, loses to Islam, tough knockout, beat Yair, but lost to Islam before that. He was the longtime champ. He was the pound for pound number one. 2 tough knockout losses in a row. Takes 8 months off and comes back and takes on Justin Gaethje, who's one of the scariest dudes in all of the lightweight division. And of course, given the way it ended against Max Holloway, a man that's going to be extremely motivated to come back as the best version of himself, to ride the ship, get back on track, get that title fight before he retires, because he spoke about it, Justin. He doesn't want to do this for too much longer. So you put all that into the equation. Justin Gaethje is going to come back a really, really dangerous version of himself, because most fighters, if you cut from the correct cloth, when they lose a fight like that, they come back better. Justin Gaethje has never been knocked unconscious like that. I think he has been stopped before, but he's never come back. He's never lost a fight like that. And when you do lose a fight like that, that's when you got to do some soul searching. You got to figure out why you do this sport. And you got to also make sure, because now there's an element of fear. Stepping back in the octagon when you just got flatlined like that, there's an element of fear, first and foremost, which is present in your mind. So to ensure that doesn't happen, you're leaving no stone unturned. So Justin Gaethje is going to come back absolutely at the height of his danger, or his potential danger. And Volkanovski's like, yeah, Mike, give me the fight. There's me swearing again. But that's what he's going to say, And even though, what is Volkanovski, 35, 36, even by the time the fight comes around. Volkanovski, unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's like, for a guy like, we just saw with Dustin Poirier, like you were talking about, right? Like he had that bad knockout against Justin Gaethje. He comes back against Benoit Saint Denis, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this guy should be fighting for a title, So it's like, you do see that turnaround very quickly, especially at the higher echelon of this weight division. But I mean, good on Justin Gaethje too, right? The last fight he took was against a 145er, came up, slept him, right? Like put him in a bad way. Now you got a guy who arguably has bigger power in a Volkanovski than a Max Holloway. And it's like, you're stepping right in there against him.
And it's a guy that's beaten Max Holloway 3 times. Do you know what I mean? I never thought of it from that perspective. When you think of Justin Gaethje, the human highlight reel, you think of the punching power, the takedown defense, and the role that he was on. But he lost to Max. And as I said, Volk beat Max handily 3 times. So yeah, a very, very entertaining matchup. I hope that becomes official. But what does that mean for Volkanovski? Does that mean he's coming up to 155 at his weight, with him losing 2 fights via knockout? I think that would make sense if he still wants to fight, which of course he's going to, because Volkanovski as well, he's been calling out everybody. He's been trying to step up last minute against everybody. I just love this guy. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's very humble. He's down to earth, great sense of humor, hell of a barbecue chef, and he just embodies the whole Australian vibe. Australian people are just so chill and down to earth. But I think him moving up to 155 because of the weight cuts, because of the knockouts, makes a lot of sense. But that would be a great fight. But one thing about Volkanovski is that he was a double champ, or tried to be a double champ, against Islam Makhachev. Here's the segue. Blew it for a second. Leon Edwards has been saying that he was interested in that. I'm looking at your note number 6, Harrington.
So he says that while he is interested in a fight with Islam Makhachev, for Islam to potentially come up and challenge for double champ status, he said that's the first lightweight he beat is Dustin Poirier in his last fight. So he's got some more work to do at 155. I have some more work to do at 170. So I would welcome him up for a champ down the line, but I also want to make the jump up to 185 and challenge for 2 belts myself. So, he better get his work done a lot faster than I got mine done.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the rankings here and thinking about Islam. Does he really have that much work to do? I mean, the only contender he's really got is Arman Tsarukyan, who's on a suspension, but hopefully by the time that Abu Dhabi card comes around, he should be free to fight. Charles Oliveira, number 2. Justin Gaethje, he's not probably eligible right now. He just beat Dustin Poirier. I know we did this kind of recently. And then there's Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, he was pissing off Dustin Poirier this week. He was on somebody else's show and was talking about Chandler, weren't he? He was like, what did he say? He used "we." And Dustin was like, what do you mean this "we"? You've had 1 win in the UFC. What did he say? Just remind me.
So he said that Poirier should retire. And he said, we've had enough or something to that effect. And Poirier said, who's we? Let me see if I can find the clip to bring up. But damn, dude, he went after him.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, who is Michael Chandler, to be honest, to tell Dustin Poirier to retire? I did see that Poirier's angling for one more final fight. I know he was talking about potentially, going up against Nate Diaz in a boxing ring as well, which, we'd all love to see that. I don't think that is going to happen. But what other names did he throw out there?
For boxing, he didn't say. He just said that it is something that he would be interested in. No, he also said
MMA.
Oh, in MMA. I did not. I did not hear him say anybody who was super excited about fighting. He did talk about the idea that he did agree on like an hour's or 24 hours notice to step in to fight Nate Diaz when Nate ended up fighting Tony when Hamzat fell off that card. And he talked about Michael Chandler and how he is absolutely not happy with Michael Chandler calling for his retirement.
Well, there's only one way to settle that. They've got to fight. They already did that. It was a potential fight of the year. Dustin Poirier got the job done once again, but they're the type of fights that I wouldn't mind seeing again. And that's all rumored for now, so there's no point digesting it too much. But I do want to talk about this. Alex Pereira is incredible. What he's achieved, we all know that. I did a YouTube video this week saying his nemesis is coming. And I am, of course, talking about Artem Vakitov. Artem Vakitov went 1-1 in Glory with Pereira. Very, very close fights. They won 1 apiece. He's now switched to mixed martial arts. He's 2-1. Lost his first fight, just like Pereira. And then he's won 2 this year. And then now I'm seeing reports on social media that he's going to be on the Contender Series this summer. Now, I don't know. That's what my YouTube editor told me. I'm calling some of the contender fights, but I haven't heard that yet, not from any official sources. But I actually said in that video that I did, I said, look at this. All he's going to do is win a couple more fights. They'll put him on the contender. There'll be a big song and dance around it. He wins a fight on the contender. He comes on into the UFC, wins 2 or 3 fights, and then he will fight Alex Pereira. And I got a ton of shit, because Alex Pereira is so popular right now. If you go against that guy, if you predict him to lose a fight, which I did, and of course Anthony's, said that he's one-dimensional and stuff like that, so he gets a lot of shit. But me just floating the idea that this guy might be coming for him was not a popular notion. I was like, guys, relax. It's just a conversation point, and it is definitely a conversation. This guy is an unbelievable kickboxer, defended the belt multiple times. Those 2 fights that he had with Pereira, they were amazing contests. Have you watched them?
I watched the second one.
Yeah, they were phenomenal. Now, Pereira feels like they gave it to him because Glory knew that Pereira was leaving the organization. They didn't want him to leave with the belt. But they've been going back and forth. What have they been saying?
Vakitov started off, he said that he was interested in coming over to the UFC, and making waves and becoming a champion pretty quickly. Poetan took some exception to that. He said, hey, brother, be careful with the people that are giving you this idea. The same person that is advising you to do that has tried to do the same to me, and I didn't do it because I'm not stupid, LOL. Everybody knows that when they gave you the win in Glory, it was because Glory knew that would be my last fight in the organization. They didn't want me to leave with the belt. For you to expose yourself like this, it seems like you're a bit lost and almost certainly doesn't have a manager. That's what I think. You should message my boy Jorge Guimarães, his manager, because I think he can help you. Shama.
Yeah. Shama. Everyone's getting shama these days. Listen, we could talk about that all day long. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. Pereira kind of had the exact same path, because of the relationship or the history with Izzy. So this guy's probably going to repeat history because of his history, to use that word again, with Pereira. So it's history repeating itself, kind of. But I tell you what, what the interesting thing is? Look at the influx of kickboxers that we've had lately in the UFC. And I think it's phenomenal. I really do, because it just shows the evolution of the sport. Because for the longest time, people always say the best base for mixed martial arts is wrestling or jiu-jitsu, because you can add all the other things on. Well, now we're seeing high-level kickboxers. And I was thinking earlier, I even put a tweet out this morning, who are some of the best kickboxers that we've had in the UFC? And when you start going down the list, if I even bring up the tweet and look at the responses, you go through it. You've got Anderson Silva, who's probably one of the greatest of all time, defended the belt God knows how many times, I think 11. He'd be up there. We've got Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira, Vanderlei Silva, Mirko Krokop, Shogun, he was a champion. Lyoto Machida was a karate specialist, not a kickboxer, but a striking background. George St. Pierre, believe it or not, was a karate guy before he learned to wrestle, did not wrestle at college. Maurice Green, he was a kickboxer back in the day. He was a heavyweight champion.
Was Overeem a kickboxer?
Alistair Overeem was certainly a kickboxer. We'll be joined by one of the world's best kickboxers very shortly, Giga Chikadze, who's going up against Arnold Allen. The point I'm making is it's looking like there's a shift, don't get me wrong. The Dagestanis, the wrestlers, they're always going to have their place. But I think as the sport evolves and coaching methods get better, people are learning how to stop the takedowns, how to get back to the feet. That's why I think if you look, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like the number of submissions that we see in the UFC compared to other years has kind of gone down. Certainly when you look at 1993, when the UFC originated, nobody knew what an armbar was. Just people, that did Brazilian jiu-jitsu or some martial arts weirdo. You know what I mean? Most people didn't. Now everyone knows you got to watch the armbar. When you pull the arm out, you got to watch the triangle. You got to watch the rear naked chokes and all the rest of it. When you're standing back up, you got to keep your back against the fence so people don't take you back and punt the hooks in. There's a lot of very, very basic principles now that people can follow as a fighter to eliminate a lot of the threats. But Brian, while we're just talking, can you just look up, and I think we've done this before, and I think it proved me wrong, but just look up number of submissions in the UFC 2024. We'll have to go 2023 compared to 2015. But it's hard you can't really do that because we have more events these days. But still, just have a look, Brian, if you can. But what do you think, Harrington? What's your point as a guy that's never trained and doesn't know how to do an armbar or kick someone in the head?
Hey, I've slept on trains, so that counts.
There you go.
So I thought this was interesting. Vakitov's response. He said, it's been great to see your success, and I wish you even more success in the future. But I am sure you can understand that for me, it is strange to be always reading about the best striker on the planet when, in my opinion, I beat this person twice already. I would like to settle the issue in the UFC octagon. And it's like,
well, yeah.
I see that, and it's like, okay, so what is stopping us from having this happen? Because, like, you know, you got Joe Rogan openly begging the president of the company to let this guy go up to heavyweight and face new challenges there. Like, I mean, you know, while Magomed Ankalaev is there, sure. Like, I don't know too many people who are that excited to be watching Magomed Ankalaev. I don't think I'm ever going to be bouncing little aura on my knee telling her about Magomed Ankalaev's debut. You know, this guy who is a superstar high-level kickboxer who can, if you put that kid in the Contender Series, like, that's going to be a massive highlight reel worthy knockout. And somebody like that who is laser focused on a champion at 205 that the champion at 205 is already talking about. I mean, dude, it's already there. Please just give it to me, UFC.
Yeah. But we do have to point this out. Just because you're a great kickboxer doesn't mean you'll be a great mixed martial artist. Just because a few years ago you had 2 great fights with Alex Pereira doesn't mean you can revisit that a few years down the line and still have the same result. You can't take that for granted, right? Look at Alex Pereira and look at the work that he has done. You know what I mean? Look at the discipline that he has shown, the training that he has put in. Like, he just knocked out Yuri. He was back in the gym on Monday. There was footage of him on social media. Now, I don't know if it was, you know, for social media alone or just to do a little YouTube video or whatever, saying, hey, guys, look at me on. I just Mr. Work hard, dedication. You know what I mean? And then, like, they got the video and then he was like, screw this, Chama, I'm off to the pub, right? Even though he doesn't drink. You know, but the point what I'm saying is he's clearly been ultra dedicated, had an incredible team around him, and the proof is in the pudding. It kind of goes back to, like, what we were saying about what Anthony was saying on Monday. You know what I mean? About the training, how he doesn't enjoy it. You've got to enjoy the process. Rashad was just saying it a minute ago. So we don't know what this Artem Vakitov's been doing. He switched over to mixed martial arts. Yeah, he's Russian. So, you know, I'm finding an international master of Sambo in his local neighborhood isn't going to be hard. You know what I mean? There'll be plenty of people called Nikolai or Dimitri that can double leg the shit out of him all day long. Do you know what I mean? I guarantee within 5 doors of where Vakitov lives, there's an international master of Sambo. Okay. One of his neighbors knows how to wrestle at a very high level.
Yeah, believe it or not, you can go down to the Home Depot there. There's 7 international master of Sambo guys just waiting for work.
It's like, brother, this is number 1 bullshit. I was international master of sport and now I sell food to people. But anyway, we got Giga Chikadze joining us.
On your question earlier, I found this chart.
Oh, yeah, please. Thanks, Brian, because Harrington just glossed over that completely and went back to...
Well, I was giving Brian time to look it up.
This is knockouts and submissions between 2020 and 2014. This is just the nicest package I found.
Knockouts and submissions. So 2020 to 2014. So it's going down 77 to 99 from 14 to 2020, which doesn't sound like that much, but it's 22 less. So we'll call that almost a quarter.
Yeah.
And I think that trend has increased even more in the last few years.
Well, also, there's probably more events going on in 2020 than there was in 2014, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good point. There was for sure more events. There's more events now. There's more people doing it. The popularity of the sport is at an all-time high. It's never been bigger, and it's still growing. More people are adopting this as a career. You know, mixed martial arts wasn't the type of thing that people considered realistically as a career move. You know, and that's why... At high school, certainly in America, your big, massive athletes, they're going to go towards football. They're going to go towards basketball or other sports which are more established with an established, you know, way to make ridiculous amounts of money. Baseball, so on, tennis, so on and so forth. But now this is really reaching the levels now to where certain people, if you're willing to work hard, you might go, shit, let's go and do this. The point I'm making is that it's so exposed to everyone then you got to be pretty shit these days to be getting submitted. I don't know. That's a joke, of course. But, you know, you pound someone, you punch them in the face, you elbow them, the brain gets scrambled and you don't really know what's going on. So take that last comment with a pinch of salt. But, yeah, it is interesting.
You know what else is interesting?
Go on.
Giga Chikadze.
What's up, guys?
The one, the only Giga, the Giga Kick Chikadze. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great, brother. How are you? It's been a while.
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than your internet connection right now. It's settling in. It's settling in. There we go. You were very pixelated a moment ago. It looked like you were coming in on 1995 Georgian Wi-Fi.
Actually, it's not that bad, brother. I'm not far from you. I'm in Huntington Beach.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
What's going on.
Giga, thanks for joining me, buddy. I know you got a big fight coming up soon. Arnold Allen, UFC 304. How you feeling?
Feeling great. Finally injury free and ready to go. I'm super excited to go in England. It's been a while. I haven't been there too, and I've never been in Manchester. That's another thing. Another city I always wanted to go, especially all the soccer popularity in England. Yeah. I've been a big fan of soccer for a long time. So
nice. Yeah. We'll try and get you out to a game if there's one going. Have you been keeping an eye on the Euros?
Of course, brother. Georgia made the first time the European Cup, and they went in 16 finals. They made it's a history for us. We beat Portugal.
I hate to brag, but we're in the final. Let's go.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I've been an England fan for a long time, especially Michael Owen, the player, was my favorite when I was a kid. So,
nice. Have you fought in England before?
Tournament in karate in 2002.
Nice. Okay, so you're kind of familiar with it. Of course, the fight's going to be happening maybe 2:00 in the morning. You've probably never done that.
I don't pay attention, brother. I live in California. I'm going to try to stay here as long as I can. So I'm going to arrive as late as I can there and going to keep sleeping daytime. I mean, I'll follow the California time. One of the pioneer from UFC recommended me through my friend.
I wonder who that could be. Yeah,
I wonder too.
we have a mutual friend, of course, and I was saying that's all you got to do. I mean, you're on California time now. Just stay on it, which is almost impossible, but you want to get up and you want to get some daylight anyway. You want to get a bit of vitamin D, get a bit of sun. Not that you'll get much in Manchester, but it's good for the brain. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask, before we talk about Arnold Allen, I want to ask you about this, Giga, because we were just having a conversation about kickboxers and how successful kickboxers are being in the UFC now. I mean, obviously, you got Alex Pereira, you've got Israel Adesanya. There was many others beforehand, yourself, of course. Do you feel like there's a shift now? Because in the past, it was all about wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But do you feel like there's a shift in terms of a base?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So back in the days, nobody knew what was jiu-jitsu, right? So Gracie came and he submitted everybody with like the basic chokes, because when you don't know what's jiu-jitsu, it's really hard to understand, and sometimes the people were panicking from some of the basic moves today that even a 10-year-old would do even better, But now people spending a couple of years in jiu-jitsu, a couple of years in the grappling, and the rest of their life in striking. That's a problem, brother. That's a real problem.
And in my opinion, I mean, I love grappling, of course, but it makes it very exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
And you are one of the best kickboxers that we've seen in the UFC, Giga. That's why I always love watching you fight. Arnold Allen. So I know Arnold. Obviously, we're both English. Doesn't mean I know everybody. It was like, because I was going to get Marab on, and I was trying to get Ilya on, and we were going to do a Georgian takeover. And I just assumed...
When you're talking about Georgian takeover, That's all you have here. You know that you talk about me. You know you.
Okay.
When you say Georgian takeover here, I am. You know, you don't need anybody else.
Fuck everybody else. Here he is, the one and only. We don't need anybody else. You are the Georgian takeover. So the Georgian takeover of Manchester, for that to happen, you got to get through Arnold Allen. He's a great guy. He's a nice, humble guy. What do you think of him as a fighter?
Okay, we're talking about the people's personalities here, or we're talking about the fight, brother. We're in the fight business. You know, we don't give a who we're gonna fight. I'll fight anybody. I'll fight everybody.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, so how are you gonna?
I'm sure he's a great guy. You know, great human being. I watched few videos. He's some of the YouTube and stuff, and that's the one good thing in MMA. You know, like the people don't know how good human beings we are. They all think that we are just some badass who love to go in the street and fight everybody, but that's completely opposite in my opinion and from my experience. Obviously there are some idiots as well in any sports. But yeah, I'm sure he's a good guy.
Yeah, no he is. He's a very nice guy, but all that aside, it doesn't matter whether they're a good guy or a bad guy. Who gives a shit? You're going to try and knock him out. Simple as that. What do you think the strengths and weaknesses are of Arnold Allen? What have you got to do to beat this guy?
He's short.
Oh, straight for the jugular. He's short.
I mean, he's obviously like well-rounded in all distance. You know, he has a good wrestling and grappling. He's training one of the high-level grappling gym as well. Like Mindset in MMA, their gym is kind of grappling, I believe. But obviously, he's a good striker as well. Nice southpaw game. Yeah, I mean, like, as you mentioned, you know, like we're strikers. When we come with high-level kickboxing leagues like either Glory or some of the striking schools like that, and then you learn wrestling and grappling and you get comfortable in that, then everyone is the same for you, and especially the MMA strikers who just starting a little bit of everything, you know. I'm saying that I have an advantage in striking, I believe, to compare to all of my opponents and all of the UFC featherweights, and I don't think it's gonna be the surprise for anyone when I step in octagon. And what's gonna be my plan? My plan is to go there and take their head off, and that's gonna be the same game plan in this game as well.
Always the same game plan. Giga, I'm just looking at your record. 8-1 in the UFC, right? Obviously, you've got a lot more fights than that. 15-3 overall, and I think 8-1 in the UFC, right? The only loss to Kelvin Cater. So you've got a tremendous record. You've had incredible success. But I'm looking at the UFC rankings, and I don't see your name. Does that drive you crazy?
I mean, I think I'm on the ranking, no?
Hold on, let's have a look. I was looking at the lightweight. You're number 9. I was just looking at the wrong rankings.
I'm like, what happened, brother?
No, I know. I'm looking at. We were just talking about a different weight class a minute ago. I'm like, what the hell?
I mean, you're correct. You're correct. I should be ranked in lightweight too. Very soon.
Well, Arnold Allen is number 6, right? You're number 9. My apologies. I was looking at the wrong one. So you're going to jump up. If you get the job done, which of course you're planning on doing that. I mean, how far away from a title fight are you? And with Ilia Topuria, obviously representing your country in Spain at the same time, is that a fight you'd be interested in? And I know it's not going to happen anytime soon, but let's just say Ilia continues to dominate. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Let's say like this, brother. I have a big fight coming up. This is my title fight. You know, like you said that, what's your plan? My plan is always to be a champion. You know, I believe my country also deserves to have a real one and only Georgian representing the champion, you know, and I believe that my family deserves it. Obviously, I'm very happy for Ilya. I know him and his family when he was fighting for his title. How me, both of my kids and wife, and all of the Georgian crew, we went there to support him and his family. And Merab was fighting the same day.
Yep.
But I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting for myself. I'm fighting. The day I was born, there was said that here was born the world champion in the fighting, and that's my motivation and the reason why I'm fighting. I'm not fighting for money. I have everything what normal man would want, normal family man would want to have it. I have money. I have great houses. I have family. You know, my motivation is the belt. My motivation is to become a champion, and I see Arnold Allen fight as an championship fight. You know, he fought the Max very well. And he fought Evloev. That's only 2 losses he has in UFC. And most of the fights were very close. Some of them people think that he won the fight versus Evloev. So I don't watch him as an gatekeeper kind of guy for top 5. I watch him as one of the title contender, champion level fighter. And winning this fight is going to put me where I belong. But right now, 100% I'm concentrated on the Arnold Allen. You know, like I know that that's my belt fight. If I don't win the fight, I'm not going to get any belts right now at the moment. And I know that I have to win the fight, and then I'm looking for the belt. I've done the mistakes. You know, I didn't respect too much Kelvin Kattar. Like as a person and the fighter, I was always big fan of him before I got to UFC because he's the one of the great striker in featherweights. You know, he has such a nice wins with the elbows and all different type of the knockouts. And when I jumped in the ranking and I was 7-0 at the time when I fought Kattar, I promised Dana the few days before that, hey, don't schedule the fight because Max fight with Volkanovski got canceled from the Max injury. And I told him that don't schedule yet because that was the week before got canceled that fight. And I was like, I'm going to win this fight in the first round and you're going to put me for the title fight for April in 2022. And he was like, let's see what happens. Let's go. Let's do it. And once I slipped in the first round, if people don't remember, you know, you mentioned your only loss in UFC. Yes, I lost this fight, but I still see as a big win in my career from that fight because every time I watched last night too, every time I watch, I'm proud of myself. 25 minutes going toe to toe, you know, we both end up in the hospital, but I had the great moments. I had more than 150 significant strikes in the fight. And the way I started the fight, everything was by plan. And I slept like after 2 minutes, I kicked and I slapped the kick and I felt by myself. He didn't even take me down. And then he jumped on me. You know, it's kind of like my kick in kickboxing, like when somebody slept, like we just give him a time to stand up. But yeah, once again, you know, I learned from my lessons. I didn't stand up really fast. And once I was taking my time, he jumped on me and all that made my muscle, made my body change. And I was not feeling the same way. And from the rest of the fight, I was worried about, whoa, fuck, I didn't knock him out in the first round when I promised Dana. So all that said, you know, I learned my lessons and I feel like I'm a championship level fighter right now and on my path.
That pisses you off, doesn't it, Giga? I can tell. And I love that. I love that. The fact that I even said 8-1, you were like, well, I feel like I've won that. I love that, though. That's how a fighter should be. But you know what I find
after a few hours, I think I did the Facebook Live or Instagram Live. I was saying that if I would lose the one fight with Kattar from 10, that would be the one, and the rest of the fight I would win. So pretty much I'm saying I think the same way. I made mistake, and that's how I lost the fight. Other than that, I don't think the featherweights anybody can beat me. You know.
And rightly so. I mean, your striking is some of the absolute best. Obviously, you haven't fought in almost a year. Was there an injury? What was the reason for the layoff?
I was scheduled to fight with Emmett, and I tear my groin. The Merab came to help me for sparrings because of the hate and kind of how stocky Merab is. Also, like an Emmett. He's obviously he's bantamweight, but he kind of was imitating he was giving me the same look, and from the far distance, I throw my special kick. And, like when you cutting weight, always stuff like this can happen. And I'm the big guy. I cut 40 pounds for the fight. And that's what happened. Yeah, I tear my groin, and unfortunately, I couldn't make it.
That's the game, sadly. Well, you are coming back, and I love the chip on your shoulder, Giga. I love it. You look like you're ready to kill someone.
That's why I'm in the game, Otherwise, I would be enjoying with my family. I'm raising the 2 kids, both of them the little athletes, enjoying the days with them in the sunny weather in Huntington Beach, bro.
Well, and that's what life's all about, right? That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Giga, you're the man. I will see you there in Manchester. I would say sunny Manchester. It's probably going to rain. The place, it's a beautiful place. The people are fantastic, very friendly, but it's going to be cold. So make sure you keep hold of that hat. You're going to need it.
I lived in Amsterdam for 7 years, so I'm very familiar, kind of similar weather. Here you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see you there, brother. Have a great flight. Thanks as always for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Michael.
Giga, you're the man. Take care, buddy. All right, big thanks to Giga Chikadze. Well, it wouldn't be the Believe You Me podcast if we didn't sprinkle in a little bit of non-MMA. Now, I sent these to you yesterday, Harrington, not because I think it's great, simply because I'm sick of seeing this girl. And I think it's a real reflection on society en masse, to be honest. And I am talking about the hot tour girl, right? You've all probably seen it right now. If you've been on social media, you have seen it, but it's everywhere. She's blowing up like crazy, right? She did the interview. I'm sure everyone's seen it, where she was talking about what she would do if she was having oral sex. She would spit on it and all the rest of it. And it's a little off color, so we don't need to play the video, but we all know what I'm talking about, right? Now she's singing at concerts. Who was the country star? There was a country
Luke
star.
Bryan.
Luke Bryan. Okay. Apparently she's getting her own reality TV show. Okay. And then yesterday I'm scrolling social media, and now there's new versions of it. Brian, play this. This is quite possibly the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life.
Was it?
Oh, it's not that. Yeah, play this one though. She's not most disgusting.
It's got to be super wet, so of course it's got to be.
No, do you like pretend this is my weenie? Do you like spitting on it? Who do you spit on it?
She is a freak. I get that black.
Show it.
Black. Show who?
Show the camera how you do it. Do it
They
again.
don't need to see
Anyway, that's not the video that I meant.
There was one other one too.
There's another one, Brian. Play that one, because that one I think she's a very pretty girl. But everyone's trying to like replicate. Yeah, this one. This is what I saw. This is gross.
That girl said her spit on that thing. That's boring. I'm farting on it. Exactly. Speak to him, Toothless. I'm farting on it.
That just made me want to throw up when I saw that, and I was like, I did not laugh. I thought that was just utterly disgusting. But it's like, what is
hilarious.
She called her butthole Toothless, as in the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. That's so funny.
Well, maybe I need to watch How to Train Your Dragon more often, because I didn't get the joke. But I was just like, dude, is this what's happening? I mean, listen, that girl that did that, she came out, she did a little video recently. She was talking about it. I think she was just drunk on a night out, and a camera randomly gets in her face, and she comes out with some nonsense. She comes out with a bit of bullshit. She's being silly. She probably didn't expect it to turn into some massive viral sensation the way that it has. And hey, fair play. She's getting the 5 minutes of fame, and she's capitalizing on it, apparently selling merch and all kinds of stuff. She's now got a manager, which is just wild. But hey, listen, whatever. But when people come out, it's like in the UFC, and you're trying to be somebody else. You're trying to be somebody you're not. It's just cringe. And you thought that was hilarious, but it's like, I really do wonder for young girls these days. It's like, that's what they're seeing on social media, and that's what they're trying to live up to, and that's what they're trying to become. Harrington, you have a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. What would you say if Aura is giving it the Hawk tour when she gets older? Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Okay. Well, as I've said on the show before, I am holding out hope that my daughter is a lesbian. But the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, like that second girl with the farting, I thought she was clearly joking and making a play on it. That other one, that very attractive girl who's doing the like two hands and all that, it's like, that's where it actually becomes a problem. Like the Hawk Tua girl, right? She blew up. She quit her job at the Spring Factory. She's moving to LA. She's got plans and things that might actually happen for her. Now you're going to start seeing so many more of these girls trying to get caught in these, viral street interviews and go more and more over the top. And it's like, if that becomes a career path, if it legitimately becomes a career path to just get drunk on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, and tell some guy with a cell phone some of the most perverse things that you could do, like that's the downfall of Western society, more so than it already is.
Yeah, well, that was very well put, and I totally agree. And that's kind of where I was going with it mentally. As I say, I was just sitting there on the balcony yesterday, just chilling and just having a little social media scroll as you do. And I came across multiple different iterations of it. And I was like, what is going on? Because this is old now, and it came out a few weeks ago, and I didn't want to speak about it. I think you put it in the notes at the time, and I was like,
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, you did. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. But then when I start seeing all like the wannabes and people trying to replicate it, I was like, Jesus Christ, who are these people's role models? And listen, far be it from me to sit here and judge people, right? I'm not a perfect person. I make a lot of mistakes and all the rest of it. And maybe they're just having a bit of fun. But like, come on. Geez, have you not got any shame whatsoever? And maybe I'm getting old. And maybe I'm being a little bit judgmental with it, but it's like, dude, really? Have a bit of respect for yourself. One day you're going to meet a guy, and that guy's going to see that video and be very put off by it, one would assume.
Yeah, I mean, either that or you're just going to be busy Hawk Tuing every night because it's like, well, you're doing it for these dumb guys in your 20s. I'm your husband. Come on.
Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, there is a give and a take, isn't there? There's a give and a take. All right. No, I completely retract my statement, and my position is changed. I'm with you, Harrington. I'm on board. Let's go Hawk Tour all day. England, congratulations. They are in the final, so that's fantastic. I'm not a big football fan, so I can't sit here and debate the finer ins and outs, but I do just want to say congratulations and good luck on Sunday. So what do we do? Danny Trejo getting into a fight at 80 years old, or 2 burgers being better than a burger with fries? I think Danny Trejo all day long. Brian, roll the tape, please. So what's going on? So there's Danny Trejo, gets out of the car.
Yeah, he's driving in this lowrider. Right before this video was filmed, someone threw a water balloon at the lowrider.
Right.
So here's Danny.
Gets out. Oh! Boom, dropped. Oh, dude, that guy's swinging hard. So that's basically the gist of the video.
Yeah, that's the
Danny Trejo's driving along. They throw a water bomb at him. He pulls up, gets out, walks over, and just starts swinging. That's crazy, man. Listen, again, not being judgmental. 80 years old. At 80 years, I mean, listen, Danny Trejo's a gangster. That's what he's portrayed in films. Prior to being an actor, he was apparently in and out of prison for a long time. So old tricks die hard, so to speak. But I think at 45 years old now, I'm definitely much calmer than what I was in my 20s. And I would hope that continues to evolve. And there's no judgment on Danny Trejo. If anything, I think it's crazy that 80 years old, that's his go-to. Just jump out and swing. I mean, fair play to the guy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess for somebody like that, like the G in you, it's hard to kill that. And it's like, you should be so respected at this point, driving around your own neighborhood in LA, and to have then water balloons thrown at you. Apparently, there was some confusion. Somebody had screamed out in a crowd it was acid inside the water balloon. So he was like, he got super nervous about that. And he claims he was just going over to confront the guy and say, hey, why are you throwing like hazardous materials at my car? The guy then threw a water balloon at him. So he started swinging, and that's how that went down.
Right. So these are very, very key, important factors that you did not put in the notes. Do you know what I mean? It's just escalated from having a water balloon thrown at him to potentially hazardous materials, to potentially being a balloon full of acid. Number one, if that was true, I want to know, what was this balloon made of that the acid didn't corrode through it instantly, okay? It wasn't acid. We know that for a fact. Yeah. I'm calling bullshit on the acid version. Okay. Yeah. Danny Trejo's made that up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you're looking for an excuse. You just got slept in the street. That's why you don't interview a guy after he gets knocked out.
80 years old, getting out and swinging like that. I mean, from one point, you can kind of say as a man, you respect it. But at 80 years old, that's dangerous, man. Anything could happen. When he got dropped like that, he could have hit the deck, hit his head on the ground, and died. There was a guy in our town, got punched in the face in the pub, hit his head on the ground, died. Happens all the time to young men, let alone 80 years old, but still. All right, well, Danny Trejo, he's still got it. He's still a wild one. Today's episode is sponsored by Shopify, which is the e-commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Basically, if you have an idea, if you have an ongoing business concern, but you want to take it to the next level, you want to get online, you want to accept major credit card payments, you want to have a website and all that type of stuff, that's a big investment. That's a lot of time. It's very, very complicated. Not anymore. Shopify makes it so simple and extremely affordable, and of course, done in a very, very professional manner. Straight away, you will find yourself online with an e-commerce platform. You will have a website. You will have the ability to accept every major payment method. Also, a tremendous amount of support from Shopify. Shopify covers every sales channel, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. It even lets you sell across social media marketplaces like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. It's packed with industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth. And Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills in design or code. And of course, thanks to the 24/7 help service and an extensive business library, Shopify is there to support your success every single step of the way. And you can sign up right now for just $1 per month. $1 a month. Give this a try. $1 per month when you go to shopify.com/believe. So if you are going to take your business seriously, if you have an idea that you've just started and you want to take it to the next level, then what more are you waiting for? As I say, shopify.com/believe. Sign up for just $1 per month, okay? $1 a month to open up your potential doors to the entire world of sales, business, websites, payment methods. You're going to learn some stuff. Hopefully, you're going to make some money, and you can sign up for a trial period for $1 per month when you go to shopify.com/believe. Shopify.com/believe. Talk to me about the two burgers, Harrington, then we'll get to some more mixed martial arts.
So a dietitian came out with this theory here. Basically said that because of the kinds of macronutrients and the kind of like the wider array of nutrients in a burger, she said it's technically healthier for you to, at a meal, eat 2 burgers instead of ordering a burger and a side of fries. The idea there being the fries are nothing but carbohydrates and, some salt, sodium, whatever. So you're taking in, a lot of those extra calories, and it's kind of throwing all your macros out of whack, versus if you eat the 2 burgers with the buns, you're getting plenty of fat, plenty of protein, and you're still getting the carbohydrates from the buns.
Yeah, and it makes total sense when you break it down like that. Of course it does, but who wants 2 burgers? Do you know what I mean? You want the fries. Listen, life, I'm not going to sit here and give everyone a lecture about nutrition and all the rest of it. I try and eat a good diet. I try and eat as little processed foods as possible. But you're allowed to enjoy yourself a little bit, everything in moderation. And if you want to have a burger, generally you want to have it with some fries. Now, the burger is the best bit, but a side of fries, delicious, fried, golden fries, lots of salt on pepper. I like mayonnaise. I like Chipotle. I don't really go for ketchup on the side, but a little bit of dip. Oh, get a couple of those chips, put them on the burger. Do you do that, Harrington?
Of course, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a certified fat guy.
Now, don't get me wrong. If I go to In-N-Out, I get 2 double doubles. So it's healthier than getting the fries. But sometimes you're going to have a few fries, everything in moderation. But I was watching a video this morning, actually, of Russell Brand. Russell Brand was talking to somebody, and they had not a food pyramid, but they had a chart of the most healthiest foods you can eat down to the worst. So it was something like foods they recommend you should eat in high doses, foods you should be moderate with, and foods you should avoid, right? At the top of the list, it was kale and watermelon. Then it was dried frosted mini wheats, and Lucky Charms were in the suggested stuff. At the bottom of the barrel, in the avoid, was eggs, ground beef, natural products. It's absolutely insane. The advice that these people are giving out, and this is Tufts University. I didn't know what Tufts University was. I had assumed it was kind of a poncy, nice, well-to-do school. I thought, is it Ivy League? So I Googled it. It's not an Ivy League school, but it's a very highly respected private school, college, university. And if this is what they're teaching, if they're teaching that, then what other absolute nonsense are they teaching? Because Lucky Charms should not be a food that anybody's recommending. That is pure, straight up processed garbage that is going to kill you, that is going to give you diabetes. It is going to help all these myriad of health issues as people get older. If you're eating that crap, you're going to have issues. Take the 2 burgers, have a few fries, leave the Lucky Charms alone. My God. I'm sure Brian can dive in here. I mean, Brian, if they're teaching that shit in these universities, I'm telling you right now, this new generation, no wonder they're lost.
Fried. It's like, you see what happens in some of these internet clips of people at school board meetings where their kids have access to these crazy, wild, radical books at a very young age, seeing things they probably are not mentally equipped to handle. And it really is the evil government trying to push these things on us, I feel, like the Department of Education is just it's like a hindrance on society at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the most classic example, just there, it was there in black and white. I saw it on Russell Brand's video. I mean, these were the foods they were pushing. These were the foods that they said to avoid, right? And it's always been that way for a long time. The food pyramid is essentially upside down. It's absolutely nonsense.
Yeah, even the food pyramid that we grew up with is not right. You shouldn't
you need 9 servings of bread a day.
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't be eating a loaf of white bread a day. Anyway.
What is there any governmental guidelines? What are the governmental guidelines right now that you can share on screen? Is there anything that
I'll find them.
I've never looked this up. But it is crazy, like the amount of nonsense that you get and the amount of advice. And to be honest, it's hard to know what to follow and what to understand unless you're going to go really, really do some deep study on it and research it, and maybe do a nutrition class at college or whatever. But even still, they're teaching absolute nonsense. But I just think as a general guideline, the more natural the product, the healthier it's going to be. And also everything in moderation. I mean, they always used to say, and I know I'm repeating this from my former show, avoid fats. No, fats are okay in moderation. Avoid salt. No, salt. I sprinkle salt in my water every day. Okay, it's good for you. If you have too much salt, you will piss it out. It's that simple. It's not going to give you. I mean, they say it contributes to high blood pressure. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that the doctors I have seen speak about it are telling the truth. Too much salt, you piss it out. If you're drinking a lot of water, if you're working out, if you're living a healthy lifestyle, then get fat, get some carbs, get some fruits and vegetables, have a cheeseburger, have 2 cheeseburgers. Just balance it all out. If you want to have a Diet Coke, have a Diet Coke. I know there's a big scourge now on diet drinks and stuff like that. There's 0 calories. If you're counting calories, go for it. Have a diet one, but just don't have 10 a day. You know what I'm saying?
So it took me a long time because I almost didn't believe it, but this is the new dietary
guidelines,
pyramid guideline thing. It's like a plate, and it says these are the things you should be eating. I'm not certain that dairy should necessarily be on anybody's plate. That's more like a choice kind of food thing.
Yeah, but it's kind of off to the side. To be honest, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, that's essentially 4 quarters, which is great. You know, protein, vegetables, fruits, and grains. You're going to get a lot of minerals there. I don't see what the issue is with dairy. I know there's a big war on dairy products right now. A lot of people think it's unnatural, and, you know, why do we drink milk from an animal?
A lot of people don't have the genetics to digest it.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit as well. I think that's some utter nonsense, right? It's just like all these people that are getting allergies, all these people that are allergic to all this crap. You've just got to expose them to more stuff when they're younger, from what I'm understanding. Anyway, nobody came here for the Mikey B Nutrition Corner, but get out there, get your 2 burgers, bollocks, throw the fries on as well. That's what I say. Have the 2 burgers and the fries and wash it down with a nice can of beer. Do we have an MMA story to finish up on?
Yeah, I do have a story. Unfortunately, Bobby Green is no longer with us, Michael.
I was just with him. Bobby Green's dead? I was just with him at Diaz versus Masvidal.
No, he's not dead. But Bobby Green is no longer Bobby Green. Long live the King. He has officially changed his name legally to King Green. So that's the new moniker moving forward.
No, I know.
Bobby Ray Green, born in San Bernardino County at the medical center. You know what I'm saying? It's my birth certificate. Then we have to go and do this right here. See that name right there? Amended. My name is King now. Just let people know I wasn't playing.
Oh, God. Brian, just look up Paddy Pimblett's thing, because I saw him. I knew about this. I saw a video that he did. He said, look at this. This idiot's changed his name to King. So he's calling himself the King Slayer. If you can find that video, just bring it up, please, Brian. You know what? Bobby Green wants to change his name to King. Fair play. Okay, he's had a tough life. He had a terrible upbringing. He's fought his ass off. He's become very, very successful. He's a great guy. I love watching him fight. And if he wants to call himself King, then so be it. Long live the King.
Yeah, I love it, dude. That's and it's like, yo, talk about standing on business. He's like, Bobby Green is done. Bobby Green has had ups and downs. He's had, he's been around the block. King Green is the king, and he's here to stay.
I wonder what the motivation for that was, though. I mean, I guess it's a gangster side of things. As I say, I was at the fight at the weekend, and I was with my brother-in-law, as I mentioned, and we saw Bobby, and Bobby's always blinged out to the max. I mean, Bobby Green, his ring collection alone, I don't know what that costs. If they are real, there's a lot of money in rings and chains and diamonds. I mean, that man is, would the term be flossing, as I think some of the kids say these days?
I mean, he's stunting for sure. There's no doubt about that.
He's stunting. He's flossing. He's stunting. Hey, he's the king. Hey, Cub Swanson. His king's called King.
Yeah?
Yeah, King Swanson. So,
that's pretty sweet.
It's a common name these days. Going up against Paddy Pimblett, what do you think about that fight, Harrington?
So, I know Jared Gordon thinks the Paddy's going to win. I don't know, man. Like, I've been waiting for the guy to get in Paddy Pimblett's face and really take the fire to him. And that's one thing I know about Bobby Green. He is never going to shy away from a firefight. He is always going to bring the pressure. And I think if he gets in a good boxing rhythm, I don't know how Paddy has the answers to it, because he also, Not like Division I wrestler takedown defense, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And if all your goal is to keep yourself on the feet and stay in a boxing flow, I think Bobby Green is better or King Green, I should say, is better at that than most.
Yes, do not refer to him as Bobby. I mean,
I can't dead name him.
What are you going to do next?
Naming Harrington.
You're going to misgender him next? My God, Harrington, shame on you. I saw Paddy come out and he said, Bobby can't knock me out. Right. He said, I'll stand with him because, of course, every fight starts on the feet. I'll stand with him, but will he come to the ground with me? Come on, Bobby, come down to the ground, or King, come and play on the ground with me. I guarantee I'll submit him. I'm paraphrasing something like that. It's an interesting fight. I do think Bobby's faster on the feet. I think he is slicker. I think Paddy has a kind of a valid point. You know, it's not like he's got one-shot knockout power, but the man is slick as hell on the feet. And he's just got an infectious personality. I mean, when Bobby Green came on the show last time, how funny was he? He was amazing. He was great. He was fantastic to speak to. So I'm looking forward to the fight. It's going to be a good one. And this weekend, of course, UFC will be back in action in Denver, Colorado, the birthplace of the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. And if I go down here, Rose Namajunas going up against Tracy Cortez. I'll give you some predictions. So I think Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Tracy, probably to be successful, she's got to grapple. She's got to use the wrestling. She is a very good wrestler. She's using that to great effect a number of times throughout her career. But Rose, with the amount of experience she has right now, I wouldn't be surprised if she can stop the takedowns. She's faster on the feet. She's quicker. She's more experienced. She's fought tougher competition. But also, you know, maybe getting a little long in the tooth. Maybe starting to maybe not push yourself quite as hard. Not a conscious thing. It's just kind of what happens, you know, when you've had a long career, when you've made tons of money, when you've been a champion. Does the fire still burn as bright? You know, so, but I would say that Rose Namajunas gets the job done probably via decision. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikhov, the king of Kung Fu. Muslim Salikhov, Muslim, great fighter, excellent striking, matches up very well with Santiago Ponzinibbio. The thing that makes me lean towards Santiago is, well, number one, he's a great fighter, and I love watching him fight. And I love talking to him at the Apex because he does the Spanish commentating. He has got the thickest accent because he speaks English, but and he's so friendly. He is, because I get steak and eggs every time I go to the Apex. Right, I sit down, I'm having my steak and eggs. Santiago comes through and he comes over and he comes and chats, and I have no clue what he's saying. His accent is as thick as they come, but it's always a nice interaction. Do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to extrapolate certain words. I just think Muslim Salikhov is starting to slow down a little bit. In his prime, he was fantastic. I think we've just seen some of the recent results. He's just starting to slow down a touch. Maybe I'm wrong, but based upon that, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Here's my pick for a potential banger of the night, though. Drew Dober versus Jean Silva. Jean Silva, who did he just beat on the last pay-per-view?
He just had a big win, too. Charles Jourdain.
Charles Jourdain, that is correct. What fight was that? Was that 3 or 2?
Yeah, that was the pay-per-view. That's just 303.
That is a quick turnaround. Now, as we know, Drew Dober, friend of the show, great guy, hell of a facial structure, handsome dude, big knockout power. This is a tough one because Jean Silva just knocked out Charles Jourdain, knocked out his opponent. No, he didn't. He won via contender. So he won by a decision on the Contender Series. But when I commentated that Contender Series fight, I have never seen an individual so confident in all of my life. And I thought this guy's another example of a newer generation not having respect and not knowing how tough this sport is. Because often you see fighters on the Contender Series and they're full of it. They're full of their own enthusiasm, maybe a little bit of arrogance. They're undefeated and all the rest of it. And they sometimes they do great. A lot of the time they can get exposed. And this Jean Silva was saying in the interviews, I don't know. I haven't decided how I'm going to finish the fight yet. Maybe I'll do it via knockout. Maybe I'll do it via decision. But I can do it any way I want. I'll tell you what, the opponent he fought was very, very good. Jean Silva won via decision, but he's Very good, highly skilled. Because then when I was researching him for the Contender, I looked up some of his highlight stuff. Jesus Christ, he's very, very good.
One of the top prospects out of Brazil.
Yeah, tough one for Drew Dober there. Rest of the card, Bonfim, Ange Lusa, great fight there. Go on, you were going to say?
Well, I was going to say for Silva, this is a super interesting one because that fight against Jourdain was at 145. Now he's stepping in on less than 2 weeks notice against Drew Dober at 155. And that's one where it's like, you almost got nothing to lose there, right? Because if you win, it's like, you're going, that's Hamzat level. You're getting 2 wins in 2 weeks at different weight classes. That's absolutely insane. And if you lose, it's like, you're kind of supposed to lose to Drew Dober this early in your UFC career, taking the fight on less than 2 weeks notice.
He's no spring chicken, though, John Silva. He's not a young guy, and he's had a lot of fights. It's not like he's 6 or 7 or 8-0, something like that. UFC 302, if I'm not mistaken, though, he missed weight quite significantly, correct?
For the Jourdain fight? I'll look that up.
Yeah, for the Jourdain fight. I think he did. Don't worry looking it up. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure he did. But still a quick turnaround. Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Lusa out of Paris. That'll be a banger of a fight. I'll lean towards Bonfim, but I don't know. Ange Lusa's good though, man. Julian Erosa, Christian Rodriguez, and Abdul Razak Al Hassan taking on Cody Brundage. Pretty good main card coming at us from Denver, Colorado. All right, that's the podcast. I want to say a big thank you to Giga Chikadze. I want to say a big thank you to, of course, Rashad Evans at the top of the show. And a big thank you to you guys for supporting what we do. Thank you very much. We will be back on Monday with Anthony Smith, and we'll do some questions on Monday with Anthony Smith. If you have a question, send it in to bympod@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure to subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops. And if you want to catch over 500 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM, get a 20% off the whole network.